Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Messing Up Their Metrics. My in-laws needed a new microwave, so I went to Walmart for their Black Friday specials offered all November. I went to self-checkout, and it rang up higher than the internet ad. The clerk told me it was online only. I went out into the parking lot, ordered it online, and went back in to pick it up. They had already returned it from the checkout area, so I asked the manager if I could just get a receipt, and leave. It was 8:30 a.m. and they weren't scheduled to make it available for pickup until 10:30 a.m. The manager told me no, as it would mess up their metrics. I said fine, I would have it delivered. I went home, cancelled the pickup to mess with their metrics, reordered, and had it delivered to their house 30 miles away. Ironically, the original order was ready for pickup at 9 a.m, but I was already home. When they finally delivered it to my in-laws, I watched the driver cruise around the neighborhood online, because he was lost. So their metrics have a cancelled order, free delivery, as well as a few added miles for the delivery. And I still got the microwave for the cheaper price. The next story is called Leave Me Alone. When I was around 15 or 16, a friend and I went to the local mall on the weekend to hang out and hit the arcade. After a bit, we decided to get a drink at the food court. While we were standing in line, an older man, in his late 30s or early 40s, looking like he just got out of the gym, decided to cut in line in front of us. The line was fairly long at this point. I tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Sir, we are in line here." He shot us a look and turned back around, pretty much ignoring the fact that we were there. When he got nearer to the register, he reached into his pocket to take out his wallet. As he did so, a wad of cash fell onto the floor, unnoticed by him. As rude as he was, I was raised to be courteous and respectful. I picked up the cash and said, "Excuse me, sir," at which point he replied, without even turning to look at me, "Shut up and leave me alone." I turned back to look at the older gentleman behind us, who just smiled and shrugged. So I placed the cash in my pocket. When it was time for him to pay, he opened his wallet to discover that there was no cash in it. He quickly turned and scanned the floor. When he didn't find the money, he asked us if we'd seen him drop it. My friend said, "Can't help you. We were told to shut up and leave you alone." He was a bit spicy and started to rant, but in the end, he walked away without his money. Turned out there were $147 in there. A nice haul for a broke kid in the early 90s. Another time, when I was just a little older, I had gone to Wally World. I purchased something fairly inexpensive and paid the cashier. She handed me back around $87 in change. "Ma'am, I think you gave me the wrong change." She looked at it and told me that she had it right. "But ma'am," she cut me off, spitting mad, and went into a rant about how she was very good at math. I let her finish and simply said, "Okay, sorry to bother you, ma'am." And with that, I took my leave. I wonder how she felt about her math skills when she counted her drawer after her shift. What I was trying to tell her was that I had paid with a 20, not a Benjamin. The third story is called A Silly Rule. This happened about 10 years ago, when I was working on the railways near London. I worked for an agency that supplied staff to the railways on a temporary basis. They were very old-fashioned, and as part of our employment contract, they stated that our hand-completed timesheets had to be faxed by 7 p.m. on Thursday for us to be paid on the Friday. Timesheets that were emailed even before 7 p.m. would result in wages not being paid until the following Friday. They chose the most inconvenient way, as it was 2014 and nobody had a fax machine, so they were able to legally retain our wages in their account for an extra week. But my printer at home had a fax machine built in that I never used. So after my first week, I plugged in my printer to the phone line, faxed my timesheet to the agency, and waited. The next day, I still hadn't been paid, so I phoned them and asked why I hadn't been paid. But the response was explained in a dull voice by somebody who had obviously repeated the same sentence so many times that it had lost all meaning to her. As explained in your contract, only timesheets that have been faxed to us are paid the next day. If you've emailed it, the wages will be paid the following week. But I did fax it. She gathered her thoughts for a moment before replying, Okay, which number did you fax it to? So I gave her the number I faxed it to, which was correct. Okay, I just placed you on hold. She came back on the phone a couple of minutes later. Okay, yes, we got it. Sorry, I can't remember the last time somebody actually faxed their timesheets to us. I'll get that paid now. As you can imagine, I told my colleagues the following day, and from then on, they all gave their timesheets to me to fax when I got home, so they got paid on time. At the time, I wondered if they'd dropped the silly rule, but it continued, and so every week I'd fax in half a dozen timesheets to them. The last story is called Looking Busy. I have always been an incredibly hard and efficient worker, always getting things done faster than expected and going above and beyond. My program for college required us to go to class for 6 months of the year and work full-time in our field for the remaining 6 months. As a freshman in college, I got my first job at an automotive supplier. My first semester was fairly slow, mainly because the person who was supposed to train me went on medical leave my first week there and didn't come back for almost a year and wasn't replaced. However, in my second semester, things really took a turn for the worse. 2 key things happened at the start of my next semester. I was moved to a new department and the company began merging with one of their competitors. Now, when the company began the merger, they decided they were going to move everything at my site to the other company's HQ in another nearby city. The first thing that moved was the vast majority of the equipment my new department used. The upper management made the brilliant decision to leave the 4 members of my department, 1 supervisor, 1 tech and 2 students, at the old site until the move was complete. This meant we had essentially nothing we could work on. After about 2 weeks of sitting around, my supervisor finally came up with a small task for me. I completed this in about 4 hours, which I thought was pretty good, for something I had never done and had little training on. So I went to let her know, "Hey, super, I'm done." Done? This was supposed to take you all week. I don't have anything else for you to do now. I need you to look busy in case boss walks by. Next time I give you something to do, you need to drag it out longer so that you look busy. Now, young naive me was initially confused by getting reprimanded for working too fast. But what the boss says goes. A week or so later, I was given another task. I was to take thousands of these tiny explosive devices we use and dispose of them by detonating them in a concrete box. They were too volatile to just throw out, so they had to be discharged first. And remember, take your time and don't go through them too fast. Now, this was just busy work to get me out of the way. But the great thing with this task was that it had to take place in a back garage, that nobody ever went in to avoid the obvious danger of people walking in while I was setting off controlled explosives. I could have easily hooked up 20 of these bad boys at a time and set them off every 5 to 10 minutes, finishing the whole batch in about a week. But I had to look busy. So instead, I set off about 5 to 10 of these once an hour and spent the rest of the time on my phone, while getting paid over double the minimum wage at the time. I managed to stretch that project for the remaining 2.5 months I was there, finishing just in time for the end of the semester. Anytime someone asked me for help on something else, I politely told them I would when I was done, but it might be a while, because Super told me not to go through these too fast. They usually ended up finding some other bored student to help them. I think Super genuinely forgot I worked there by the end, because when I stopped into her office in my last week to let her know I had finished the task, she seemed very surprised to see me. The company ended up paying me a lot of money just to sit on my phone all day for 3 months. I sent an email to supervisor, boss and HR at the end of the semester, letting them know that I would not be returning the next semester. In my best corporate language, I let them know I was leaving to pursue opportunities that would better utilize my time and skills. I found out later, when several of us ran into each other at a job fair, that all but 2 of the other students had also quit at the end of the semester, out of boredom and or uncertainty that we would even have jobs to come back to. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.